Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, Dan,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about places that atheists may seek out in sort of a pilgrimage sort of thing. Like, you know, religious folk, they get a pilgrimage if they want.
Sure.
You know, the Muslims go to, go on Hajj.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And, Catholics go to Rome
Or
and
visit the holy sites. They visit, if there was a sighting of Mary somewhere.
Absolutely.
Or whatever.
And, and Mormons come to, Salt Lake City and rural Missouri.
Yeah. And Kirkland, Ohio. Ooh, boy. Yeah.
Beautiful places.
Yeah.
All of them.
Why wouldn't you go there?
Absolutely. Amazing stuff.
So we'll talk about where we go on our what would we pilgrimage to?
Yeah. It's an interesting
I think I just
thing to think about.
I just verbed a noun.
Yeah,
Pilgrimage.
I think that, like maybe between now and when we start, maybe, dear listener, think about where you would want to go.
Where? What's
as
on
an
your
atheist,
list?
as a non-believer, what's a site in the world that would mean something to you?
There would more than just traditional tourist value.
Yeah, this isn't about going to see the Eiffel Tower.
No.
Right. This is about something that sort of connects to a deep place in your humanity.
Interesting.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I like it.
All right. Well, Dan, first up.
What?
A study, Dan. A study about brain damage.
Oh.
And to specific regions in the brain, and how that may be linked to religious fundamentalism.
Sounds dangerous.
No. So this is one you don't want to take too far.
No.
It's also one that you want to be very careful about who you repeat it to.
Yeah.
You don't want to just start spouting off.
We're definitely going to have listeners who are going to get drunk at a family dinner and oh yeah, well, you got brain damage, asshole, Tom, and I got proof.
Yeah.
So what is it? What's the thing?
So there was a study recently published in the Journal of Neuropsychologia.
Okay, that is a fancy one.
Neuropsychologia. That the findings from the study suggest that damage to particular areas of the prefrontal cortex indirectly promotes religious fundamentalism by diminishing cognitive flexibility and openness, which is a psychology term that describes a personality trait which involves dimensions of curiosity, creativity, and open-mindedness.
Okay.
So fundamentalist groups generally oppose anything that questions or challenges their beliefs or way of life, and that's kind of the reason why they are often aggressive toward anyone who does not share their specific set of supernatural beliefs.
Interesting.
And specifically, they get really curmudgeon-y towards science.
Yeah.
Because we're the big threat. Basically, a mind that is flexible, that's able to adapt to new realities, that's able to adjust and sort of reshape its understanding of the world around it.
Yeah.
That's not what fundamentalists have.
No.
Right. Traditionally.
Right.
And this study, I will put this in here right away so we don't go too far with it. But they believe that at least the people that were studied, it was 1/5 of that group that were fundamentalist for sort of these specific reasons. There are other reasons why somebody might be fundamentalist.
Sure.
It could be your upbringing.
Yeah.
Right.
You could just be an
even
asshole.
that upbringing could affect development of the brain. If you grew up in a highly fundamentalist environment, your brain, your prefrontal cortex, they're saying, may not develop in the ways that promote flexibility in your thinking and openness to new ideas, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. Other things that might cause it, other than just your upbringing, brain trauma, psychological disorder, drug or alcohol addiction, and so forth and so on, that kind of stuff. Now, the way that they conducted the study, they looked at Vietnam vets.
Oh, interesting.
Because it was a large... They knew that they could bring together a large group of people who had all experienced specific trauma to this part of the brain.
Right.
And then they took Vietnam vets who had not suffered that kind of trauma. And then they, through questionnaires and so forth, they were able to come to some of these conclusions. And so it sounded pretty legit, you know?
Here's what I do know is that to question your own belief system or to be open to someone with an opposing viewpoint takes a measure of bravery and sort of fortitude as a person. So, if you've been hindered in some way in terms of your cognitive ability, you may not have that level of who was it? Was it Aristotle who said that education is the ability to hold two competing ideas in your head and still and process them without believing them, sort of thing?
Right. Yeah, and that's actually funny that you say that. That's actually one of the things that they talk about with this idea of cognitive flexibility, which is it has this sort of ability to easily switch from thinking about one concept to another, or I guess I should say, and to think about multiple things simultaneously.
Right.
And it is a crucial mental characteristic for adapting to new environments because it allows individuals to make more accurate predictions about the world under new and changing conditions. So fundamentalism is inherently stuck in one place.
Yeah.
Right. It is not in any way open to anything new. And
that's kind of the point of fundamentalism.
Yeah. Yeah. And
stuckedness.
Yeah. And obviously these are folks who, are drawn to a more conservative worldview because of that. They don't want it to change. Well, the change is incredibly threatening to their worldview.
Right.
And they lack the ability, for whatever cognitive reason, to shift their worldview.
Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff.
If you meet a fundamentalist who's a conservative, just realize that their cognitive function is messed with.
Well, you may want to rush them off to maybe some sort of urgent care center.
Yeah, let's see if we can help you with that.
Yeah, you clearly have some brain damage.
I'm very concerned about your brain. Can we take you to somewhere? Let's get you a CAT scan or something.
Yeah,
let's get you an fMRI.
Help, sweetheart.
You're not doing very hot.
Things are not working up there.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do about it. So speaking of fundamentalism, I am going to ship us off to sunny Saudi Arabia.
Ooh.
Where life is getting so much better all the time.
Thanks to, what's his bucket?
Well,
MGM. What are they calling him?
Did you just say MGM?
Yeah.
I like MGM. when he stops being a prince and becomes a king, does he become MGM Grand?
Ooh.
What is it? I don't remember his name. It's been anyway.
That's why I made something up, because I couldn't remember.
Yeah. I think it's FGM. Anyway,
I think you're close, yeah.
No, it's got a B in there somewhere.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
Anywho.
Yeah.
So the Saudi government, we know, shocked the world recently when they decided to let women drive. That was a big deal. Women can drive.
Let me tell you, they're quickly catching up with the West.
Yeah,
quickly.
So fast. They'll be in the 14th century before you know it. Here's the newest one. This is literally this is billed as a protection for women. Let's see how you feel about it. Now, instead of men, because up until recently, men could just divorce their wives, and this was a phenomenon that happened.
Okay.
Without telling them. They would just leave and not show up anymore
Like it's a secret divorce?
Literally, that's what it was called. A secret divorce. They don't tell their wives. They just stop showing up one day.
What assholes.
It's the most asshole thing in the world. Now,
what? But like, how many people actually did this? Was it prevalent? Did it happen?
It's so much so that a new rule has been put into place to protect women. Because when this happened, women couldn't necessarily find them, and so they didn't get alimony or anything. They didn't get anything. They just got...
They got secret alimony. They just didn't know about it.
They got screwed. Well, I've been putting it in this other account, but you weren't using it, so I just used it myself.
Oh, God. I don't want to laugh. That's so bad.
So, the newest, the big protection for women now is that if your husband divorces you without telling you, the courts will send you a text. You'll get
with a frowny emoji at the end.
Yeah, literally, yeah. It's like it's got the woman and then the heart that's broken and then the man.
Oh,
so that they're separated.
No.
And then it plays the sad Price is Right. Yeah, it's so that
by text.
By text, that's how you're going to learn that you were divorced. And then
you don't even break up by text message.
No, but I mean,
your life to somebody.
I guess that's one step better than ghosting on a marriage. You get a text from the court saying, "P.S. You're not married no more," and you get to have and maybe you'll get some alimony now.
We're sending your next male kin,
right,
to come pick you up,
and that's 100% true. Because there is. Do you want to know a list of the things that women are not allowed to do without a man's permission?
Oh, I don't.
And that man is either the husband, it's the father, it's a brother, it's a son.
Wow.
If your son gives you permission, you could do one of the following: apply for a passport.
Oh, nice.
Travel abroad.
Oh.
Get married. Open a bank account. Let's see. Starting certain businesses. You can, if you have a man's permission.
Like, okay.
Getting elective surgery. Leaving prison.
What?
You have to have a man's permission. A man in your family.
So if nobody wants you,
has to sign you out, or you're just staying there indefinitely.
That is fucked. Beyond belief.
Well, and there was this recent story. We did, I think I'm just going to combine it into this story. But there was the story that just broke a couple days ago of a woman, a Saudi woman, an 18-year-old Saudi woman.
Oh yeah,
who
I've heard
declared that she basically renounced Islam.
Yeah,
left Saudi Arabia on her way to Australia.
Yeah,
the plane landed in Thailand for a layover. She had no intention of staying in Thailand. She was snatched off out of the airport. The Saudi consulate or whatever confiscated her passport. I don't know how they have the right to do that. And there was a big kerfuffle. They were going to send her back to Saudi, where she was pretty sure, and it is a reasonable and credible threat, that her family was going to murder her for the dishonor that she has brought to them by not being Muslim anymore.
I do have a couple questions about this. Do you have... Okay, because, why did she renounce Islam on the plane before she was, at least on the plane to Australia?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
At least that.
Yeah, get all the way to your destination. I mean, these are the lessons we don't think of, but we learn from her mistake. If you're going to renounce your religion, and your family might kill you for it, get to the final destination first. But I think she can't actually apply. Well, here's the thing. She probably couldn't apply for refugee status until...
So she probably couldn't even get on the plane to Australia?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying if she had done it in Australia, they would have been like, well, you did it here. Why didn't you're not a refugee. You created the trouble once you got here.
Maybe. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't know.
The
ins and outs of it. They were ready to put her back on a plane and deport her, but the UN came in just sort of in the nick of time. God. Twitter has been amazing for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
People tweeting all about like they're going to put her back on the plane, and then the UN swooped in. There were all sorts of tweets about it. I don't do the Twitter. I don't know how it works, but magic. Magic can happen apparently.
Every once in a while, I get a bee stuck in my bonnet, and I'll tweet.
I believe you.
with great effect.
Yeah,
right. Because if you don't tweet very often.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention to you.
No. If I tweet, all 7 of my followers go, eh.
All right. Dan, China, Dan.
Yeah.
It keeps hitting my radar for some reason.
Okay.
It's like a place where bad shit's happening.
Well, yeah.
This whole China do you mean Islam thing.
The atheist mecca of China?
It is. Like, if you have no problem in China for being atheist.
Right.
Like, they love atheism.
Yeah.
Anyway, Islam. They've just been on a tear about Islam lately.
Yeah. They're not nice about it.
So they have, after a meeting with 8 Islamic associations, government officials have agreed to guide Islam to be more compatible with socialism and implement measures to Sinicize the religion. Like Chinese eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Sinicize. So this is the next big thing. They're basically going to just strip out of Islam the things that they don't like. And then they're going to be like, and that's Chinese Islam. There you go, Muslims.
Have it.
That's the Islam you can practice here.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously,
I mean, if
Islam has been banned in certain parts of China,
right?
Basic and individuals who've been caught praying, fasting, growing a beard, wearing a hijab, or anything like that, they're facing, arrest.
Yeah.
And we know about the Uyghurs.
And placement into a delightful work training camp.
Yeah, more than 1 million Uyghur Muslims are being held in internment camps currently.
Wow. More than 1 million?
More than 1 million.
That's insane.
They're being forced to denounce Islam.
Okay.
And then they also are being forced to pledge allegiance to the Communist Party.
Right.
Which is atheist and so forth and so on.
Right.
Yeah, it's international rights groups are accusing China of engaging in a campaign of ethnic cleansing. And it's really this is a tough one because we get cheap electronics and
furniture,
clothing and whatnot, everything really.
Yeah.
From China, so what are we to do?
Our president's working to end all that, to end our financial.
Yeah, he's really
dealings.
taking a stand on this. He heard about the Uyghurs, and he's just so
he's really upset about the Uyghurs. He has never heard the word Uyghur in his life.
He thinks they're a family down the street.
Yeah, exactly. He thinks it's a video game console.
Uyghurs. The Uyghurs. Aren't they that?
That nice Jewish
couple.
Family. I think I met them. Oh, my goodness. Well, there you go. Yeah, it's not a great... China's... Here's the thing. I wish that Christians could be... could denounce Christianity where it's practiced in shitty ways in the way that we denounce China. You know what I mean?
For how they
treat religious people. Because
how they sort of act.
It's not like you and I are here like, hooray, they're making everybody be atheist.
That is correct.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. And I know that that's us. And that's a lot of atheists. But, there's probably some atheists there's a little schadenfreude here.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Ha. Dumb believers.
I'll at least get on board China for that.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't be that person. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's the official position of TGIA. Speaking of other places in the world, I'm going to take us to Kenya, where since, I didn't know this, since 2014, it has been legal for Kenyans to practice polygamy, which is interesting.
It was not legal prior to that?
No.
And then it was? Or
correct.
Is?
President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the law legalizing it in 2014.
Interesting.
And since then, it's pretty widely practiced, and largely by Christians. It's a majority Christian nation.
What?
Oh, yes.
What?
It is a majority Christian nation by far.
Is this why the Mormon Church is so excited about expanding in Africa?
Maybe.
Everybody's going to move to Africa?
Yeah, suddenly there's a whole bunch of fundamentalist Mormons who are like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This sounds great. More than 85% of Kenyans are Christian, and a third of it is Catholic. Now, the Catholic Church does not condone polygamy, but people are doing it anyway. Even Catholics are doing it anyway, which is so interesting. Now, you may ask yourself, can women marry multiple men?
Of course not.
Definitely not.
No.
Absolutely not. That is never going to happen.
No.
So it's not like this is a progressive law or anything like that. This is but 1.5 million Kenyans, about 10% of the married population, is in a polygamous marriage.
That is wild.
I had no idea. I did know that polygamy was practiced in parts of Africa.
Yeah.
What I didn't know, I thought that it was a much more Muslim thing.
I thought it was Muslim, and I thought that it was not necessarily condoned or endorsed by the state.
Right.
I thought it was just kind of a traditional thing.
A sneaky
just
thing.
Kind of everybody looked the other, kind of like Utah.
Right.
Everybody just kind of looks the other way.
Right. No, it's a big deal, and yeah. Well, RNS had an article about it, and they quoted a guy who very rightly pointed out that there's nowhere in the Bible that condemns polygamy. As a matter of fact, it's practiced throughout the Bible.
Yeah, it's true.
It's if you believe in the Bible,
if you believe in polygamy,
I don't see why you would have an objection to it. But it's mostly in the Old Testament, and they don't believe any of the shit from the Old Testament.
Well, they're very choosy.
They are picky and choosy.
Yeah.
They like to pluck. So there you go.
Very interesting. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my final story today, Dan, is an update.
Okay.
About a story that you brought up last month, the Drag Queen Story Hour.
Oh, I love those guys.
Over there in Tennessee, Putnam County, Tennessee.
Oh, man. Can there be a braver human on earth than a drag queen in Tennessee?
Honestly, I don't know. The picture didn't print with the story, but you should see the drag queen who's reading to these kids. Anyway,
it's like there's the guy that free climbed El Capitan, and then there's a drag queen in Tennessee. It's like on the scale, I'm weighing them, they're about even.
Neither of them have any emotional fear response.
Right, exactly.
Period.
They're just going to do them, and the rest of us can just watch in horror.
In true agonizing horror. Did you see that movie, by the way?
No, I couldn't watch. I saw the trailer for it and had a heart attack.
Sweaty palms.
Free Solo.
Like truly sweaty palms. Me in the theater. just like, oh my God.
I can't. Yeah, because my heart was thumping through the trailer. So
anyway.
Anyway.
Well, Drag Queen Story Hour. It happened back in December. They did go through with one, right? I think you talked. It was still in sort of the threatening to happen stage when you brought it up, right?
Okay, so they did one.
One did happen. Nothing. There was no protest. It went off without a hitch. Like 12 kids show up. Okay. Everything was great.
Yeah.
Well, word got out, and some good folks from the Tennessee Pastors Network have decided to protest.
Yeah.
This is Pastor Dale Walker.
They realized they could get some publicity out of this thing.
Yeah. He says, we do have concerns, and we believe, get this, Listen to this. This made me so mad. And we believe it's bullying the innocence of these children. And children are very impressionable.
Oh, yes, they are.
And he says, does society want 20 years down the road for a kid to say, I got gender confusion at the library? Mr. Walker, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, but it does. It
does not. Oh, my God.
Yeah, what if one of those boys, wants to put on nail polish or something? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, they are raising a ruckus, Dan.
Yes, sir.
But I have to hand it to the librarians that are involved in this whole thing. Phil Schiller, director of the Putnam County Library, he says it's a First Amendment issue. We don't have the right. We don't have the right by law to discriminate against anybody.
Damn tootin'.
Right? Melissa Bean, she's the organizer of Drag Queen Story Hour.
Although, wait a minute, that we don't have the right by law is not exactly saying, I support this thing. It's something to hide behind, you know what I mean? Like, he's right. You don't have that right, and you should make that clear.
I would say that based on the lack, let's see, something else. Well, the lack of other things, I can't project one way or the other onto him. But anyway, they also talked to Melissa Bean. She's the organizer of the Drag Queen Story Hour and president of the Upper Middle Pride Association.
Okay.
She says it's a performance, and how better to entertain children and teach kids about love and acceptance and tolerance than a person that's used to doing that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think the pastors are like, hey, they're teaching about love and acceptance. Let's put an end to that.
Yeah, I know. Well, apparently we need. There have been dozens of messages sent to Ms. Bean saying God will punish her, and that, they didn't want. And these are people who now don't even want to go to the library anymore.
Oh, good.
And she says, I'm saddened that people are
like they went to the library.
Oh, I know.
Come on.
I know. Yeah. I'm saddened that people are using religion to push their bigotry, and it makes me very sad that we can't be loving and affirming and celebrate each person's inherent worth and dignity. I mean, brain damage much for these fundies?
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
There you go. I'm going to close off. I'm going to take us all the way to India, where there was recently a science conference, a major conference in India, the Indian Science Congress.
Ooh.
Which
is it just stuck in gridlock? It's just they just can't get anything done like any good Congress,
like a regular Congress. It's a science Congress. No, that probably goes just as slow. Anyway, here's an interesting thing that happens in India. Now, India has an interesting history when it comes to science, because they have some really good scientists that come out of India. The guy that not Higgs, but the guy that the boson part of the Higgs boson was named after. Yeah. He was an Indian guy, Indian physicist. Yeah,
wow.
A lot of good science coming out. However, there's also this very interesting streak that is pretty well accepted in India.
Okay.
Which is basically it's the Indian version of Ken Ham. It is we can take the Hindu literature to be every bit as trustworthy as scientific discovery
and literal and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in the 106th Indian Science Congress, which was inaugurated by, I will point out, Hindu nationalist Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it hit a fever pitch of interesting pseudoscience.
Okay.
So some interesting claims were made. Things like the head of a southern Indian university. That's the head of a university.
Okay.
Cited a Hindu text in proving that stem cell research was discovered in India thousands of years ago. So that's nice. Wow, what a neat thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Another vice chancellor of a university pointed out that a demon king from the Hindu religious epic Ramayana had 24 types of aircraft and a network and a network of landing strips in modern day Sri Lanka.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So that's good.
What?
I think the crowning moment was when a scientist from a university in the southern state of Tamil Nadu told the conference that Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein were both wrong and that gravitational waves should be renamed Narendra Modi waves.
Oh, my God. What the fuck?
So,
well, this place, they've...
Good stuff happening in science.
Oh, man.
In the world.
I thought this was going to be a good story. I mean, like a good, like, uplift. It's a great story. An uplifting
yeah, not
science
uplifting.
Story.
No, there is good science that is done there. But unfortunately, it's hard to know what science is good and what isn't coming out of India if that is the state of things.
Well, unfortunately, you get a few crackpots together, and that's what's going to make the headlines.
Well, yeah. But I mean, we're not talking. I mean, when we're talking about presidents and vice chancellors of universities, it's definitely a thing.
Oh, damn.
That is
a thing.
Be careful. There's pseudoscience everywhere you look.
Blar.
Not just here in these United States. Well, if you would like to report any pseudoscience that you have done to us and our show, you can do so by writing into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yep, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on that like button.
And while there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Also, check us out on Reddit. The subreddit is TGI Atheist. All right, Dan.
Yeah?
Dan.
What?
Oh, my God, Dan.
I'm worried. Suddenly I'm scared.
I know that you try to be a little more loosely affiliated with your whole political party thing.
I don't have a political party.
Yeah, I know, which is ludicrous because you're clearly a Democrat, but that's fine.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm very liberal. Definitely not that party is full of dim bulbs, let me tell you.
Anyway.
I'll still vote for them a lot of the time. But
you'll vote for the dim bulbs?
Yep.
That's nice. All right, Dan.
Yeah, what?
Let's see. How long ago was this? Your Voice America. Have you ever heard of this show before?
Yeah, we talked about it. It's like relatively, it's kind of newish, but they're out there doing it.
Okay. Well, here's a clip. I really don't know these characters too much. This Chris McDonald guy, I know he shows up on like the Preaching Fireman show a bit.
There's a lot of crossover with a lot of these guys. So this is what, Bill Mitchell and
Chris McDonald,
and they are just in a flurry over a Breitbart report claiming that there had been something like 41 million abortions.
Oh my God!
And
that's a lot.
I think it's wrong.
So what if it's right?
Yeah, even if it's right, that's fine.
That number doesn't scare me.
No, it's fine. Abortions are okay. It's not a problem. But boy, these guys do not see it that way.
All right.
And this is what the Democrat Party believes in. This is what they are about. They are murderers. They are evil. They are racist. They want to open our borders to illegal aliens. They want to raise our taxes. I tell you what, they are a scary, frightening party. And as the righteous people of God, we must stand against them. What do you think, Chris?
Bill, I'm glad you brought the abortion up. I read that article. We had that article on our paper down here in Tennessee just yesterday about the abortion. And I couldn't believe it. I read that. I had to read it twice to make sure what I was reading is right. More people died last year by abortion than any other cause. And again, wars and history did not take this many people out. Right. Bill, if the blood of Cain, when Cain and Abel, the Bible, let me use a quick Bible story here. And God went to Cain after he had killed his brother, and he told Cain, he said, the blood of your brother is crying to me from the ground. If the blood of one soul cried to God, Bill, from the ground, how many souls are crying to God because of abortion and the blood of these babies that have soaked our land?
42 million in 1 year.
Exactly. And that is unfathomable. But you know something? Again, what is the party that promotes that? What's the party that's out there putting money in Planned Parenthood's pockets? I guarantee you the House will pass bill after bill after bill over the next couple of weeks. I guarantee it's a priority that they're going to try to put funding back in Planned Parenthood. Where President Trump has done everything to take it away, they're going to try to put it back in the hands of these abortionists. And, Bill, it's one of the most vital fights, most righteous fights that we can fight for is life. Because I'm going to tell you this. If a party or a candidate, I don't care who it is, cannot fight for the unborn and the life of the helpless, they sure as hell can't fight for you out here listening to me talking. Because if they can't fight for a helpless unborn baby, they're not going to fight for your life either. They will sell you out. They will traitor you. They will trade you off. They will do whatever they can at the highest bidder, and they will open the floodgates to America for the killers to come in and not just kill the babies, but to kill every citizen. Bill,
what's to stop them at the womb? Why not say,
nothing.
If you don't like your kid after 2 years, you can kill your kid. What's to say that you can't take entire sectors of the population that you find inconvenient and kill them in the name of choice? This is government choice to do this. This is the pathway the Democrats have got us heading down. And I tell you what, folks, if you went out there and you voted Democrat this last time, you need to take a hard, long look in the mirror. The Republicans may not be perfect, but the Democrats are the party of evil. They're the party of death and open borders. Look at all the crime and the disease and the drugs these illegals are bringing across the border. Look how they're driving down wages for hardworking Americans. And yet you're voting for that. You're voting for that. You're voting for that. You've lost your minds. If you're a Democrat and you're voting Democrat, you have lost your mind.
See why I'm not a Democrat now?
Yeah, well...
Now do you understand, finally?
With good reason. Jesus Christ.
You have lost your mind.
Well, yeah, because,
Frank.
we're all about abortion and murder and killing and people taking our jobs.
Purposefully letting in people who bring drugs. Actually, that doesn't sound too bad.
I just love that it's like this. It's this list.
Yeah.
Of like.
Yeah. They read an article about abortion and then it's like, why are you talking about the borders right now?
Yeah.
What the fuck? How did that come up?
Because they have to work it into every conversation.
Literally,
because they're so racist.
They've got this laundry list of things, and they're in their minds. These are all connected.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Because it's Democrats. Democrats are evil. Here's how they're evil.
Yeah, let me list off all of the bad things that Democrats believe in. They believe in murder. And look, the truth is, if they're willing to kill a thing that isn't actually that could barely be qualified as a human, if it can be, but if they're willing to abort a baby,
right?
What's to stop them from killing a 19-year-old?
Well, they take it to a 1 or 2 year old.
Yeah,
it's like, well, check your Bible.
Right?
Check your Bible.
Yeah.
Because your Bible says that's okay.
Your Bible is A, okay with abortion, and B, okay with
infanticide.
A 13th trimester abortion. That is what your Bible is okay with. So you should probably, before you go spouting like that, maybe read the thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, golly. All right, well, I'm going to read an email. Let's see what we got. Hi, Frank and Dan. I live in Georgia, another one of those wonderful, quote, in God we trust license plate states.
Oh, God.
A few years ago, I had to change to a handicapped license plate. All the other plates had those dreaded words, so I spent a lot of time figuring out how I could black out that lie. It turns out I didn't have to. My new license plate did not have the offending phrase. What it did have was a sticker that I could put on with that phrase.
What? Had the official sticker addendum?
The
edition.
In God We Trust.
No.
Sticker. You're allowed to put a sticker on your license plate if you want to. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's amazing. But every other plate has In God We Trust?
Apparently.
Like the hunting and fishing one has?
Well, that's the one that
we trust.
That one probably has it multiple times.
It's just step and repeat background.
It's the pattern all over the thing. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. The emailer goes on. of course, I did not use the sticker. Now I have one of the few cars around with the offending phrase. Of course, that does raise the point of why the state is paying for that sticker. This is one of the few times being in a wheelchair has worked to my advantage. Well, congratulations, man. All you other Georgians need to get out there and get yourself wheelchair bound, I guess. If you want,
I suppose.
If you don't want, I mean, it seems like an extreme thing to do.
Yeah.
To avoid,
but
proclaiming that
silver linings, Dan.
Yeah, sure. It's a great silver lining.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the fact though that there's a sticker that gets sent out.
Because is crazy.
Because clearly you know exactly what happened. Somebody, they were getting their handicap license plate, and they were very upset.
Very.
Because
damn it, this one don't have the God on it. Man.
And they called someone up, called up their legislator.
Right.
They allocated some money, got some stickers made.
I mean, yeah.
Ugh. Ugh.
It's nice of the designers to try and slip one through. But no. It can be modified. Can you put other stickers on it? Can you just put whatever sticker you want? Can you take the sticker?
Satan.
Can you doctor the sticker so that it just says
"In dog we trust"?
Yeah, there you go.
See how long it takes for somebody to notice.
Yeah, start cutting it up and seeing. Just see what you can make out of it. Maybe you can make a fun anagram of the whole phrase.
Yeah.
I think that'd be delightful. I'm going to come up with something.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Do we have anybody to thank this week? Now, here's the thing: we had the big fund drive.
We did.
That was to benefit the FFRF. Mm-hmm. And that was a great success. We'll have figures for you soon.
Well, we need there's a few things that still need to be finalized.
We have to do the accountant.
Yeah.
And then we will announce a figure. But thank you guys so much for stepping up to the plate on that one.
Absolutely.
But we still want you to donate, even if you missed that one. We'll do more charity things in the future, and all of our donors will be a part of that. And if you want to donate to us, if you appreciate what we do, you can still give.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who do we have this week?
All right. Well, we have one new faithful listener, Dan Guinera.
Well, thank you, Guinera.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Your support helps us continue making the show. There's something wonderful this week. I don't know if you've noticed that there's a slight difference to how our voices sound.
Yeah.
We got ourselves some new microphones.
We are upgrading, baby.
And they're really slick. They're awesome. And it's because of the support that we receive from you guys that we're able to make upgrades to the show.
Yeah.
And of course, as always, we have our top donor who we need to thank.
Yeah.
And it is changed again.
Uh-oh.
It's Jenny!
Jenny! All right.
Jenny's back. She's our Lord and Savior. Thank you so much for your support. And if you'd like to join these kind folk, you may do so at our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab. That'll take you to a page that gives you a couple options. And it's all up to you.
It's so easy. So even someone with brain damage can do it. So get in there and have some fun.
Really? Well, thanks, guys. Dan.
Yes, sir.
Pilgrimage. What brought on pilgrimage? Is there something...
We were discussing what we were going to talk about for this segment of the show, and I just thought to myself, everybody loves travel. Not everybody. That's not true.
Some people hate it.
But a lot of folks love travel. I love travel. You do as well, I know. And I thought, we're looking ahead at a new year, and I just thought maybe there'd be an interesting way to talk about travel from our perspective, from a secular perspective, that isn't just, go out and have fun, but I just thought it was an interesting concept, the idea of, are there places to which we skeptics, we atheists, we people who don't have a God, are there places that are almost holy sites to us. And are there places that we could go to because specifically because it connects to that part of us?
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of try to identify certain... well, I started thinking about certain places in the world that one could travel to.
Okay.
That specifically are not religious sites.
Okay.
At least not expressly religious. Is kind of how I just like kind of started off. And I started thinking, well, I mean, that's kind of a challenge because like I personally, I love like ancient religious shit.
Right.
And even like medieval religious shit.
Sure.
Renaissance art.
Yeah.
It's largely religious and it's beautiful and I love it and I love going and seeing it. And, but that said, I tried to like think, okay, well, those are kind of the things that I just associate with normal, like travel to Europe.
Sure.
Right. And so what is like, what kind of travel could lead us to either learn more about humanity or learn more about like our shared history,
interesting,
so forth and so on.
Okay.
And so the first, I'll start with the oldest place on my list, which is Göbekli Tepe. Have you ever heard of this?
I think you made it up. I'm pretty sure you just said nonsense words that you made up.
I did, yeah. I don't know. I only recently heard about this place.
Okay.
It's a 12,000-year-old site.
Oh.
The site, the ruins are 12,000 years old. It is the oldest archaeological site ever.
Oh.
The most ancient. And it has sort of reshaped our understanding of ancient peoples, how they lived.
Where is this?
It's in Turkey.
Oh, okay.
And what's amazing, there's a temple site there that they're actually like doing a little bit of like restoration work on. But this site is fantastically complex. Civilization had arrived.
Interesting.
And it's like 3,000 years earlier than we thought that it had arrived.
Huh.
Right? There's art, there's carvings of like cattle and wild boar and whatnot. It's really, really, really fascinating. And so those places that we can go to, because there's a lot like that. I thought this was just a fun example because it's like so ancient and kind of newly arrived on the international travel like radar. But those kind of sites, like I find them just so amazing to go to. Last fall, summer, whenever Dave and I went down to Mesa Verde.
See, Mesa Verde was on my list.
Oh, awesome.
I was thinking very similarly. I have different things, but
yeah,
one of the things that I did think about was, sort of looking at humanity through a different lens.
Yeah.
And so Mesa Verde made my list for sure.
Yeah.
Places that I would like to go and visit.
Just contemplating the way that people who lived so long ago, how they lived, and seeing what clearly was important to them that we share. Right? Yeah. That humanity is humanity, even though it's a wildly different culture that they lived in.
And one goes to the place of like imagining what their lifestyle was like.
Sure.
What was must-see TV for these people?
Yeah.
At that point, like, was it a Thursday night still like it is now? Or
was it just that tree down the lane?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a cool tree.
Did
you see that new tree?
I've been watching that tree.
Johnson's just put in outside their step house.
I've been watching that tree for a week now.
House,
it is so fun. I also thought that, one of the places that would be that's of interest to me, sort of the kind of thing that's of interest to me, is anything that gives you a sense of geological time.
Oh,
I was just down in southern Utah and took an amazing flight tour of Canyonlands National Park.
Okay.
You have to go in an airplane because they don't allow helicopters because it bothers tourists and whatever. But some national parks you need to see up close and personal. You know, if you go to Yellowstone, you don't want to fly over Yellowstone. You want to be in Yellowstone. You want to see the geysers. You want to see the things.
Yeah.
Canyonlands, man, it is amazing to see from above because you just see how the earth has wrinkled and contorted and been carved up and stuff. And you can't see that as well. You know, you go to Dead Horse Point or something and it's amazing and you can see it. But like just seeing the layers, and you can very clearly see the striations, the layers of the different kinds of rock that have been laid by over millions of years. You know, this was covered with ocean, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and then it wasn't. Like at least 20 times there was like water all over that. Yeah,
20.
So they say. Millions of years of depositing different kinds of minerals and all this stuff, and
that's ridiculous.
You see the different colors in the different kinds of sandstone.
Right.
Anyway, it's really interesting. Anything that's that sort of thing where you get to see nature.
Huh.
There's also, I mean, you know, my thoughts are Utah centric because I know it better. But things like Dinosaur National Monument, where you can go and see a wall where literally they cut so many dinosaur fossils out of this wall that eventually they were just like, well, we don't really need any more. And they just left a wall with exposed bones all throughout it. It's so huge and it's so cool. And you just, you know, you just see geologic time written in front of you.
Right.
I thought that was really cool.
Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
This next place for me, Dan, it's not really necessarily a bucket list place for me.
Okay.
But I was just sort of brainstorming, like I was thinking about what are examples of places where humanity has kind of pushed itself.
Okay.
And pushed itself into a landscape that we're not welcome, right? Oh. I think the best example of that's probably like Antarctica, right?
Oh.
Like but then there's also just like the people, you know, who have carved out places to live in like extremely far north places like Alaska or, you know, so forth and so on.
Yeah.
Greenland, people living in Greenland is just psychotic to me, right? And so like, but like just this idea of like living in completely inhospitable places.
Interesting,
right? Like that, there's something really intriguing to me about that.
Yeah, kind of a testament to the human endeavor and to what humanity is capable of.
And that we're kind of clever, and you know, like in very, you know, like McMurdo Station, like they've had to be very clever, you know, and they've had to insulate things very well, you know.
Yes, insulation's pretty important in Antarctica.
But you know what I mean? Like just this like it's and I guess Antarctica comes to mind because so much of, you know, human habitation there is also like scientific endeavor, right? Like these are people who have gone to an extreme place to further our understanding of life. And
that's an interesting idea as a pilgrimage. Just go to a place where people oughtn't to live, but they do.
Yeah,
and just sort of sit with that interesting thing for a bit.
Yeah,
just sort of get an under. I like that. My dad, when he was alive, took a trip up to Alaska just because he wanted to see the northernmost town in the world, and so we went up to Barrow, which I don't think is called Barrow anymore. But yeah, he just went up there and checked it out. He just wanted to see what it was.
Interesting.
Anyway,
all right.
Since you mentioned science, I don't want to be too science heavy on this, but I think it's a pilgrimage to get yourself to the Smithsonian.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I think going to, you know, they have so many 19 museums, galleries, gardens, and a zoo.
Well, and the Smithsonian goes far beyond just science.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, art and culture and our history and so forth and so on.
It's a testament to humanity. or it is
especially American humanity.
Yes, although the African American Museum,
True.
I mean, I guess there's an African art museum there too.
Okay.
An Air and Space Museum.
Yeah,
and
it's not completely American centric, but obviously there are parts of it that are.
Yeah, but there are also equivalents in other parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Any major sort of civilization center is going to have interesting museums, and I think that those are, to me, a place not of worship, because I'm not a worshipful person, but they are a place of contemplation, and they're a place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have this feel for me. Also, like observatories.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Well, I have one more, Dan.
Okay.
And this one has to do more with the horror of humanity. The horror. Lest we forget.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I would really like to go to Hiroshima.
Interesting.
That has been on my list for a while. Like if I ever find myself in Japan, I'm not leaving without going to Hiroshima.
That's fascinating. Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's along the lines of like going to visit a Holocaust museum.
Absolutely.
Like that. Yeah, and all of those things. I went to Auschwitz, and I think, there's this sense of like, why am I going here? What am I doing here? Mm-hmm. But there's this idea of bearing witness to the atrocities that human beings can create.
Absolutely.
And standing there and just saying, we are capable of this.
Yeah.
And we have to guard against it.
Absolutely.
So I think that there's something very real about that. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. I didn't want this to just be we're so fascinating and look at what we can build.
Right.
Like we need to take these moments to stop and think about what went wrong.
Yeah.
Right. How did it go wrong? And then just what we're willing to do.
Yeah.
To each other.
Yeah. This is beyond tourism. This is self-confrontation.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important.
Yeah. I mean, when I finally do go to Japan, I will have fun.
Yes.
I will rent a friend. Right. I will.
What? I don't know that.
You don't know about renting a friend?
No.
You can rent a friend.
Okay.
You can
just a Japanese person.
There are people who are professional friends
who will walk around with you and just hang out.
Yeah, and normally it's just like, it's Japanese folk. It's people who, just need someone to hang out for the afternoon.
You're going to be paying a premium for that English speaker, though.
I know. I don't care. I want to rent a friend.
Okay. That feels very sad. I don't know. I mean, if they can provide some tour guide services, that's all the better.
I just want to hang out. I want to
So let's go to a club,
go shopping or something.
Whee!
Okay. What do you think of this shirt?
Sure.
Great. Oh, that's great. Get that one. Oh, it looks really good on you.
I like it.
Just rent a friend.
Okay.
Go for coffee.
Sure. But also you'll go to Hiroshima.
And then, yes, I will have my fun. And then
you'll spend some time.
Yeah. Just because you're going to someplace awful doesn't mean that the rest of your trip can't be fun.
And one assumes that by now Hiroshima is not awful as a place. It just is a place that experienced something awful.
But I would be going there for a specific reason. Because they have a big, they have...
Like a monument or...
There's a giant monument. I believe there's a museum thing.
Sure.
So forth and
yeah,
so on.
I'd be interested in that too. On my last thing, I'm going to push back a little bit on you, and I'm going to say that one of the ways that we as atheists, not every atheist was raised religious, but a lot of us were. And I think it could be important to make a pilgrimage to places of significance from your old religion and sort of confront your own personal history with it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I just think people, our history with our former religion can be something that is so intertwined in our brains, and there's so much there to confront that I think it's kind of important to force yourself gently to look at it, and to see what it was that you were participating in, and what it was that that you're no longer, and just a place where you can ask yourself questions about it.
I mean, but what kind of form does that take? Like,
I don't know. You know, I go regularly to Mormon Temple Square here in Salt Lake. Now, I go there because I find it a funny place, and I find, you know, I love their flowers, and there's lots of different reasons that I go there. But I think part of why I go there is just to sort of muse on what these people believe and what I used to believe, and what tendrils of that are still in me somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are still some. And maybe what good can I get? What good can I draw from it? There's a lot of stuff that you can think about. I don't know that I need to direct other people's journey, but I think a lot of people, I can imagine that for a Catholic, going to Rome, going to the Vatican, seeing that opulence and stuff, I think that could be a worthy place to contemplate.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. We're just throwing shit out there.
Yeah.
We could, you and I could go to, we could take a trip to Nauvoo, Illinois.
Palmyra.
Yeah. See where Joey Smith started the bullshit that we were raised with.
Yeah.
It'd just be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
And be surrounded by people that still believe that stuff. And
see, that fucking creeps me out. I don't like being around
Mormons.
The Mormons.
I understand. I mean, that's part of it for me.
Because it's like I don't need you to like be sitting there believing and shit that is so reprehensible to me. Right.
Yeah.
It bothers me to be around people who are just like so into like having their spiritual experience.
Yeah.
About Mormonism.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you.
The idea though of going and seeing and confronting these places, I mean, that's interesting. And we did a little bit of that when we were on our road trip.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel that there's value in that. And it's interesting, if nothing else, just to have more context for those places that, keep coming up.
Yeah.
It's sadly, in a lot of ways, Mormonism has been an inescapable part of my life for my entire life.
Well, I mean, we have
a different relationship with it now.
We're doing a podcast. I don't think we would be doing a podcast called Thank God I'm Atheist if we hadn't been raised religious.
No, I know. But
you know what I mean?
I'm just saying that I think even without the podcast, I would still hold a deep, it's not fascination. It's part fascination, but just interest in the goings on still at the LDS Church.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But whatever.
Anyway, these are just spitballing ideas, and I'll bet some of our listeners have some really cool ideas for places that you could go to do a pilgrimage. So, yeah, write into us, folks. If you have a thought or call in, you write in at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and see what Mackenzie's up to over there.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in.
Indeed. Speaking of Facebook, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her work, and thanks to Amy and Danny for their work as moderators on the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston for the use of their music.
Yes. And thank you for listening to us, all of your friends. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.